Sorry about that. Need to reset the mic. And we're back. You guys having a good weekend? Shaggy SoCal 2Old4Forza. And for race 2 on the opening weekend with TNT 41 in the CRX, we are at CotA West at night. And unlike Sonoma, I mean, there's some elevation changes here. This track, at least for me, again, it's a little very floating at the beginning, very technical on the backside, and some corners that I don't like just mainly because I can't see them, just because you're turning in so late. But anyhow, going to do the same format. Going to run a quick out lap just to get up to speed, then probably take you around slow lap, corner by corner. Just talk about how I approach it, what I look for, what I'm trying to do to get the CRX around the track, and what it seems to want to do. And then do a mock race to kind of put the track guide as far as my advice there in with some questionable racecraft and see where things end up, and gives me kind of an idea what to expect for Thursday. So with that, let's go ahead and do the test drive, and I'm not going to mess with the manual clutch this time. Just go ahead and head out. So again, after Sonoma, we should be pretty familiar with what the back end of this car is going to do, especially on cold tires. And again, this corner and the turn in, you're just barely losing the apex. And again, because it's at night, makes it even more difficult to see. Let out through here. Going forth. High risk, high reward through here. Now heading into the technical bit. Here. A little bit. I hate this corner. And I hate it mainly because I can't see it. I'll talk about that a little bit later. That is just a quick outlap of CotA West. So let's do the slow lap. So you're going to be racing up here in fourth gear towards. I don't know. When CotA they made CotA, they kind of made the joke. They called this Phil Hill for the Formula One driver from I think the only American Formula One champion, at least my memories. But braking for turn one here on Phil Hill. Is going to be the blend line for pit out. So you're going to be braking right as you get to this line. Down to second gear. I don't have a definitive turn in point because this is partly for me. This is one of these is where for the hood view that I race in, it's tough to see turn in because like I'm turning in so late. The apex of the corner is going to be off screen just barely. Again, if we were in, you can probably have a little bit, slightly a little better. But for you guys that do in car, if you do in car with wheel, you've got a little bit your field of view is back a little bit further. You can kind of look out, and it's what we would be doing in real life if we were racing here. Is as we're getting up and getting ready to make the turn in, we're actually going to be looking for the apex, out the side window instead of the front one. So one of the reasons why this is dash view, you can just barely see it. The A pillar is doing just as much to block it as if you're in hood view. So the turn in, I kind of gauge the turn in as just as I'm getting to the top of the hill, just as it starts to kind of hit the crest, and I may see the curving barely go out of view, but I'm going to try and turn in, keep it there, maybe clip it a little bit and roll it out, and then try not to go off on the edge on the other side. On your own, you'll probably be able to get into a consistent kind of rhythm and turn in and exit. In the race, in traffic, again, I think we're going to be doing all sorts of lines through there, trying to, uh, crossovers, especially, either crossing over on entry or trying to cross over on exit. So it's going to be fun. And heading down the hill, second gear, third gear, and then probably into fourth. Depending on the line I take out of turn one, habit for me has always been to try and go as wide left as possible into this corner. Again, we're not in a high enough class car where you got to worry about that or worry about trying to maximize the track to carry the most speed. We're not going that fast, so you can be in the middle of the track. You can really follow the suggested line through this corner. You'll be up in fourth gear. I tend to bring the car back across all the way to the left. And what I'm trying to see, without getting on the bouncy curbs, is for the S's. How I approach it is this first S as I turn in. I'm trying to clip the apex, but and again tougher at night because you can't see. I'm trying to get it so where I'm getting to the left side curbs about at this point where I've kind of straightened out heading into the next part of the S's here. I'm in fourth gear. This is another one where I'm not decided what gearing I want to be in. I think when I first started running laps, my preference would be to do these S's in fourth and not downshift to third until I get to the left-hander that does the crossover to the back part of the track. But as of late, I've been downshifting to third a little sooner. But this part, I'm still in fourth, still full throttle. And as I'm getting to the curbing here on the right, and again at night, this would be so much easier in the day, but at night, as I'm kind of reaching where the curbing here really starts on the right side, it'll be a quick dab of the brake, still in fourth, and then turn in, maybe try and get on the curbing a little bit. And if I do it right, I'll, late apex that curbing so that I'm a little bit to the right heading into this next part of the chicane. Won't always happen. A lot of times I might just straight line it towards the apex of the next corner. But here's where you can make a decision. I've done it both in fourth and third. I think it really just comes down to comfort and your own cadence as far as gear shifting. But if you take it in fourth or third, bring it back here. Use that orange curbing kind of as an apex marker. Most of the cases, I'm probably going to hit that early and maybe be a little bit wider out than I should. But again, I think the line's pretty accurate here. You don't want to go all the way to the right side, but maybe, try and keep it mid-track, maybe a little bit to the right. Again, fourth or third gear, up to you. Again, get on the curb. The orange curbing will work as an apex marker. But I'm trying to keep it to the right at this point for this next corner. Now, my outlap, you heard me say, this is the high risk, high reward part of the circuit. It's high risk, high reward as far as time penalties. If you get it right and you're aggressive, it can gain time, but at the risk of incurring track limit penalties. So for me at this point, if you're in fourth gear, this is a definite downshift into third. If you're already in third gear, keep it in third. Can get away with using quite a bit of this inside curbing. Again, high risk, high reward. Bring the car back out. And for this next part of the chicane, and again, it's this the less steering you can do through here, the quicker you'll be able to go. And certainly the way I'm looking at it is I'll still be full throttle. I'm going to line the car up. I'm probably going to turn it a little bit to the left here as I cross this curbing, still full throttle. Turn it back a little bit to the right, still full throttle till I get past that curbing, and then it's a very quick on the brakes, downshift to second. Release the brakes, turn in, and start to roll back into the throttle. And basically cutting the curve as much as the game will let me. The other part here is if you're carrying a crap ton of momentum through here, as you release the brakes and as you turn in, the back end of this car is definitely going to start to slide out on you. But as I talked about at Sonoma, again, it's the right amount of slide. It's not going to rotate on you, and certainly you'll feel it slide out a little bit. Then it'll start to catch, and by the time it starts to catch, you're going to be rolling back into the throttle and pulling the car out of the slide anyway. But just know that, especially here, you know, and for me on a controller, it's probably easier for me on a controller than you guys on the wheels. But you know, this is one of those turns. This is one of these left-handers where I'll say, yeah, I'm going to chuck the car into the turn. That's what I'm doing. Is I'm going to chuck the car. I'm going to get the back end to rotate out, and then roll back into the throttle to try and carry as much speed through here as possible. It's one of those that, you know, if I can do that and I have the timing right, it might allow me enough momentum to carry down and maybe attempt to pass down into the next corner. The risk is obviously time penalties, and I'm sure it'll happen in the race. Is I'll catch a AI at the wrong time out of here and probably, you know, run into the back of them. But again, high risk, high reward section of the track. So second gear here, and up to third gear. And then braking for me, braking line's pretty accurate, but I'm going off the 50 board. So as that 50 board goes out of vision, you know, brake down to second gear. And yeah, I pretty much follow the line through here. Flip that curb a little bit, bring that up to the right side, and then back across. In any other car, higher class car, braking for this next corner, I always kind of gauge off that white stripe just to the inside of the curbing. But again, we're in D class, so braking is much later. And I have not found anything else that's, you know, that I consistently will look at and say, yeah, that's my braking point. So I'm kind of relying on the line a bit more. You know, looking out here to the left, I don't know if the Forza balloon or maybe the trailers, but again, it's at night also, so I can't look too far off on either side because it gets a little bit too dark. So again, kind of on your own to figure that one out, but it's definitely second gear. You can use a bit of the inside curbing. Depending on my mood and depending how aggressive we're back on the throttle, I won't necessarily follow the line all the way out. Sometimes I may cut it a bit more inside and really, you know, attack this curbing here. And then straighten this out, heading down into, again, the corner I hate the most at CotA. And I know hate's a very strong word, but it's mainly because I can't see it. So coming down from the next corner, I'm going to use the inside curbing here on this first part, kind of gauge the braking. So just as the apex of that corner that I'm reaching it, that's probably when I'm going to brake and get down to the second. The reason I don't like this corner is similar to turn one. Here I'm all the way on the outside. I can't see the apex. I can't see where the apex of the next corner is. I have to trust that I remember where it is when I last saw it. Again, you know, field of view, you know, if you're driving cockpit view or with the steering wheel, yeah, you can still see it outside window. You know, if you're in dash view, yeah, good luck. It's not any better than hood. I use hood, so I kind of trust it's there. Still second gear, and it's turn in. And this is another one of those. That corner, I'm going to be consistently inconsistent on my line in and out. But I think there's going to be also a lot of good from races past. I know that section of corners, there's usually been a lot of really good close racing, and again, a lot of crossover attempts going in, going out. So hopefully this car will create good racing situations. But again, out of that corner, second gear, up to third. kind of follow the line through here. You'll shift to fourth right as you get to the apex here. And on your own, I just try to keep full throttle and follow the line that's presented. As you get into traffic and racing situations, again, this part of the track, you're so much on the throttle. You can always crack the throttle a little bit if you need to adjust your line, if you think the car's pushing. Certainly, if you're in traffic, you might take you might take a closer line to the right side to try and set up a pass here. Heading the last couple of corners, you're still in fourth gear. I'm going off of, let me back the car up a little bit. What I'm looking for the braking, yeah, it is about the 50 board. Again, at night, in the pitch black night, and even my eyesight, I can't pick out that it says 50 at speed. Because usually I'm keying off of that, just the reflection. That first reflection kind of lines up where the braking line is. So, look for that. And then it's a quick, for me, I'm in fourth gear. It's a quick on the brakes, then a downshift to third. Use a bit of that inside curbing. And then out, you'll go up to, I think up to fourth. And this one, if you get a good exit, you're going to be winding up, you're going to be hitting the rev limiter just as you get to the pit in blend line, which is also just as you get to it, that's going to line up really nicely with the braking line. You really want to be on the brakes just as you get here. So hard on the brakes. And actually, no, you'll wind it up, I think, in third gear. But down to, this is definitely second gear corner. You can use a little bit of that inside curb if you want, and out, and you're back on the front stretch. That's a slow lap of CotA, and I'm actually going to turn this car around a little bit. So I want to talk about pit. I want to talk about pit in. We don't have any hard or fast rule, or we don't have any definitive rule of policing pit in for CotA, and it's one of those, because you're carrying a lot of momentum out of this corner, and we don't have any rule that says you have to then pull across. Even if we were trying to use pit in proper, it's a risk because you've got to cross back over to get into the pit lane, carrying with as much speed as we're carrying. So I would say if you're in traffic, just gauge. If someone's close behind you and you're thinking you might want to pit, maybe you hold off on that, or maybe you kind of say, hey, I'm going into the pits. Again, that's one of the advantages, now that we're using Discord. If we have more than 16, we'll actually be able to say, hey, so-and-so, I'm going in the pits, watch it. But I don't know, I don't have a definitive line. I think what I tried in my last kind of practice is I'm out, I'll take the normal line out and I'll just keep accelerating. But as soon as just about as I'm reaching the start of the curbing here, that's when I'm going to beeline it a bit and start bringing the car across, kind of aiming for the inside red. And just as I'm getting to the dotted line, it's hard on the brakes. Hard on the brakes down to second gear. If I do it right, I'll get the car woe down, release the brakes, and, roll it in. You'll get caught about there. That's one I'm going to try. I don't know how well it'll work, but I'm going to let the car go through the pit lane here, and then we'll talk about pit out, because pit out is also a little bit challenging. Just it releases all the way to the inside, and it's just trying to gauge, like, where do you brake and where do you turn in. I don't think there's any perfect way to do it either, but exit pits, wind it up in first. What I think might work, and we'll try this in the race, is once you get released, up to second gear, just keep it in second. What I want to point out is if you have the braking line on, if you have track limits on, you can kind of see where, track limits kind of denotes the exit pit lane and where it comes back across. So it might be, and it kind of lines up with where the end of the wall is. It might be that just as you're getting to where the track limit line crosses over in front of you is probably a good place to brake. Get hard on the brakes, leave it in second, and then just cross over. I mean, you're already, you know, violating track limits anyway, exiting pit lane. So I don't think, even if you completely, abuse the curbing there for turn one, that you're going to get any more of a penalty, any more or less of a penalty uh, on pit when you're exiting pit lane because you're already uh, over track limits at that point. But that might help you get through turn one on pit out. But again, we're only doing one pit, so it's not hugely critical. And the hard part is, um, again, you're being released all the way on the right, all the way on the left side of the track, whereas anybody that's on the racing line is going to be all the way on the right. So just be mindful of traffic. And actually, I think for the guys on the track, it's going to be easier for them to kind of uh, gauge uh, where they'll catch you, where you'll catch people on pit exit. So anyhow, enough of me talking on this. Let me finish the test drive, and let's do the mock race. So I think same classes, same intervals, same classes that I had for Sonoma. Lap times are very close as well. I think the lap time's a little bit longer here at CotA. So again, I'm going to guesstimate 18 laps, could be as high as 20. So it just depends on how Matt figures it out. And the other thing too is, and this is the weird thing with night, like on the rain races, Matt can kind of play with what the chances of rain are, and what kind of rain, through the stages of the race. What is it going to be like at the beginning? What is it going to be about halfway? What is it going to be at towards the end? Night, no. It's basically you just set night, and I think there's two versions of it. Um, but the night races, the lighting does change. So I think on this version, we're starting pretty much at night, and it might start to lighten up like almost like a sunrise kind of situation. I'm not sure if that's the only night version or if there's one that maybe starts a little bit more in the day and it's kind of more like a twilight and maybe darkens towards the end. We'll have to see what that's like. But anyhow, let's go ahead and start the race. As I think about this, it's like I'm starting a minute behind. I could have talked about all of this while I'm waiting to get going. But yeah, we're starting in the pitch dark, but I think it'll lighten up towards the end of the race. I think that's the in looking towards the next Forza Motorsport, and in these kind of and setting up a multiplayer lobby is what options are we going to be able to play with, and what can we do and what can't we do? I mean, again, rain and night and day are all kind of separate entities here, but it seems like you might be able to start combining all that up. Rain race that into the night kind of thing. Very interesting to see what they can do. Okay, enough talking, more racing. And just as a reminder, cold rear tires on the start for at least half the lap. So the back's going to be a little bit freer than you might expect. Okay. Oh, I was wrong. Okay, so this is why I need to pay attention more on my outlaps. Braking that isn't the 50 board, it's much later. Got the corner worker shack there. Print that out next time around. Well, a little bit wide there. Oh, wow, got one of the fast guys pitting early. One for the overcut or the undercut? No, undercut. Pitting early. Overcut is staying out. Be a little bit gentler on the brake. Oh, it is the 50 board. Okay. Thought I'd given bad advice. I'm going to keep tabs on turn 24th there. See if he gains on. Yeah, that second part of those S's. That's going to be the one that the car will get. Could get unsettled the easiest. Ooh, again, almost got that. Shallower line that you can take. Don't know if it's any faster or not, but definitely a line you can look to if you want to, if you're going to try and force a pass through there. Just know that the guy that you're trying to pick your nose there may not see you until he turns in. Yeah, he's made up about 2 seconds on me. Hopefully he'll start racing with the guys here just coming out of the pits. They'll slow each other up. I'm going to try this. I'm going to downshift to third this time. I downshift to third a little earlier. Oh, that might... You can see there the back end just slid that just a little bit as I exited. Back end slid a little bit there too. That was bad. That's a bit better. Except for that. You can see we got the sun starting to come up, so hopefully that's the version get on race. A little bit wide of the line, so just briefly lifted just the front end turn a bit more. And I'm in danger of cutting that corner to turn in a little bit later there. I need to go all the way out that and late. Definitely made up some ground there, but not enough to attempt to pass. Ooh, that was tempting. So that's what I was talking about. If you're gonna try and stuff a pass on the inside there, or on the outside may not know you're there until they turn in and hit you. Little run, but I think I can do anything. Wouldn't it be funny if we had you could flash the high beams at this point? Oh, that's a pretty high closure right there. I should have backed off a little bit more to like get a better run out of that corner. Why are you braking there? You don't need to do that. Oh, why are you braking there too? Alright, so I know I'm really definitely much quicker through the S's than him, the car. But I don't want to be right on his butt as we make the crossover to the backside of the track. So I want to try and set up pass him as we start to get into that back technical section. Back off a little early. Ready my lap. Nope. Brake early. So again, that's another one. If you try to take the dive bomb into braking, you might get your nose chopped off. Already that lap. Okay, going shallow. And the AI sometimes they follow the suggested line suggestion a little too religiously. Well, Barbosa, they're more guideline than rules. Definitely getting a little more ambient light coming up. And we'll box this lap. All right, let's see if this works. Yeah, that might work. Don't get back on the power too early that you careen out into the tires before the game catches. Coffee. Going out in a whole bunch of traffic. Dead last. There, on the inside of the white line there. Definitely probably brake a little bit later there as well. Cold rear tires, so it's going to be a little sketchy through here. Stay in third, stay in third. Now second. Slide that. A lot of cars in front. Okay, so I remember I talked about how it was nice to be in a car that doesn't get upset by curbing. Here do I want to be in? Yeah, I got the right sides on the outside curbing just as I turned in, and enough to unsettle the back a little bit, but not so much that I was worried about spinning. So. Where it's going to get interesting, because again, I carry a crap ton more speed through here than they do, especially right here. I'm going to try not to hit you. But I try. Ooh. Freaked out the AI. I guess I deserved that. Give some space on the outside, just in case. You know, that's about the best compromise I can make there of trying to stay as wide as possible while not losing sight of the apex of the corner. Start to inch away here. Okay, let's see. I'll try and set somebody up out of that crossover section that was a little quicker than I wanted. Yeah, I do gain a little bit on them, but then, you know, they've got a little better top end, so. A little room. Oh, wow, he took a big lunge. I'm going to brake on the outside there. Fine, I want to take the inside. Bye-bye. Left a little bit of room because I saw the headlights. Not close enough for a dive bomb. Almost close enough for a dive bomb. Now behind me, you tried it too. Cut this a little bit here, see if I can get alongside. Yep. Almost. Close the inside though. I half expected him to take the normal line out and then I'd look for the crossover on exit, but he gave me the outside. It was very nice of him. You can shift to fourth there if you want. If you don't want to wind it all the way out in third, just means you got to do two downshift to second for the final corner. So excuse me. Fun's definitely coming up. Laps to go. It's a questionable racecraft. Look at the crossover here. Not quite there to get... Oh! Let me on the outside. And again, that was more me taking advantage of the fact that the AI likes to check brake through there. So 4 laps to go, 15th place. Let's see if I can get into the top 10. How am I turning you with the car that wide? A late fitter, so... And much more possible here. Oh, especially if if the Mustang's going to try and murder other cars here. Ah! Why did you brake there? Darn you and your horsepower. Oh, that was bad. Yeah, I deserve that. No better. It was a Mustang. Controlled by the AI. 2 laps to go. At this point, top 10 probably not possible after I put myself in a compromised position. But I think the goal here is to catch that Mustang and pass him. Pass him cleanly. Starting to get a little reckless. Hopefully that focus holds him up. Who knows? Maybe a top 10 is possible. Turned in way too early there. So we know the AI is going to check up through this long corner here. So I'm going to try and cheat to the inside a little bit to take advantage of that. Okay, got past the Mustang. I got to stay past it. No. Okay, good. He's thinking about it. He's thinking about it. He's thinking about it. Nope. Can't go to the outside. Working on the apex there. Still enemy there. Side by side. I leave you room. You leave me room. I just noticed that the guy, the car in first is the sedan or the one that pitted early that was behind me. So the undercut worked. I might get ninth here. Oh, I'm on your outside. I'm over here. I'm on your out. And that is CotA West. And so yeah, 18 laps, 18 to 20 laps is probably what we'll see on race night. 154.6. Again, I do have a rival up at the circuit. If you want to go chase my ghost, and that one was like a 154.7. So it's about my clean lap pace. But with that, again, looking forward to this. This should be a really good season. Hopefully some really good close racing in a car that's much easier to drive. Certainly, it's not as unpredictable. So with that, you guys have a great weekend. We'll see you on Thursday night, and happy racing.